Good morning, Ian Crouch with your 8:30 Hunter News update. The Coalition is expected to unveil the long-term cost of building a nuclear power industry today, saying it'll be more than $260 billion cheaper than Labor's renewables plan. The opposition is proposing to build 7 nuclear reactors across Australia, including one at Liddell near Muswellbrook. The Coalition will point to modelling by Frontier Economics, which says the plan would see 38% of power coming from nuclear by 2050. National Senator Bridget McKenzie says it's a much cheaper option than the federal government's current initiative.
Their costings, as we released, were actually 5 times more than what they'd actually put forward, and ours is actually going to be a cleaner, cheaper and more consistent plan for our nation to actually make sure we can keep those jobs here at home and get those bills down.
But this is at odds with the analysis released by the CSIRO this week, which found nuclear power plants would likely cost twice as much as renewables. Meantime, industry experts are pouring cold water on coalition plans to establish nuclear power generators across the country, including here in the Hunter Valley. The Guardian reports Australia's industry group for electricity retailers and generators told a nuclear inquiry the country should focus on policies which will drive a faster rollout of renewable energy and storage, saying nuclear is unlikely to be a viable coal-fired power replacement. Chief Executive of the Australian Energy Council, Louisa Kinnear, says the electricity grid's transition needs to continue at a significant pace, and the lowest cost path to lower emissions was through solar and wind, backed by storage and gas. Residents living in the Wonji area will have to find an alternative following news their local post office is about to close for good. The Postal Service will be shutting its doors at the end of January after the licensee decided to return their licence. It comes after Australia Post announced they were closing their postal service at Lambton earlier this year. Hunter MP Dan Repicoli says Wonji residents will have to travel further for face-to-face postal services.
Look, it'll make it harder for the community. They'll have to go further out to other areas. They'll have to go to Morisset or Rathmines or possibly into other areas to do their postage and things like that, and to collect their mail.
The federal government is showing it's serious about establishing high-speed rail between Newcastle and Sydney. The High Speed Rail Authority is officially opening its office in Newcastle today. The office in Scott Street will also double as an information centre, providing the public with futuristic visual representations of future station designs. The Albanese government has put $500 million towards planning the East Coast High Speed Rail network. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander residents are being encouraged to help guide Cessnock Council's future. Council is calling on residents to submit an expression of interest for its Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Advisory Committee. Mayor Daniel Watton says it's important to be mindful of areas which are significant to these groups of people.
Because with everything that we do in our Cessnock local council, so any new DA or anything that comes across, particularly state significant, larger scale developments as they come in, we want to be mindful of how they can actually impact, areas of historical importance to the Aboriginal communities. Expressions
of interest can be made through Council's website and close at 5 p.m. on February 7.
2NURFM Sport.
It's a clash at the foot of the A-League men's table tomorrow as the 11th place Jets travel to Perth to take on the 12th place Glory. Newcastle will be aiming to snap a 5-game winless streak against a Perth side which haven't registered a win so far this season. They'll have to do it without defender Dane Ingham, who was ruled out yesterday for 12 weeks with a torn pectoral muscle. Coach Rob Stanton says his players need to be flexible in the absence of such an important defender. Newcastle's Kiva Bray has been named to the New South Wales Breakers squad to take on Tasmania in the WNCL over the weekend. Her New South Wales call-up comes just a few days after being named to the Aussie squad for the Under-19 Women's World Cup in Malaysia in January. The 15-year-old is expected to make her New South Wales debut alongside Wallsend's Sam Bates in Hobart. And Curry have announced the signing of former NRL prop Mitchell Garbutt for the 2025 Newcastle Rugby League season. That's sport, I'm Will McGrath.
And the winning numbers in Powerball are 3, 9, 11, 14, 16, 19 and 23, and the Powerball is 16. And now you're up to date with the latest 2NURFM Hunter News.